Greetings, champions! After discussing topics like the new zones, new rewards, and the new lore of 11.2 in the first part, I'll cover the new dungeon, the new delves, and of course, the new raid in this part of the video. If you missed the first part of the video, no problem. Here's the link to it. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Hidden beneath the surface of Karesh lies an ancient vault of the Titans. After the defeat against Dimensius, it was forgotten since only a chosen few knew about the secrets of the Karesh. But when the Illidari were defeated in Outland, the Nexus Prince Haramat of the Consortium rediscovered it. Now, it's their secret smuggler's cache, sealed by arcane magic. They call this place the Vault of the Changing Veil, a place where their most dangerous and powerful artifacts were hidden from the eyes of the cosmos, and even from each other, until the agents of the Shadowguard found it. Since the defeat against the Void, there's been a rumor, a powerful Naru crystal that is able to defuse and bind the energies of the Void. The Consortium thieves were able to obtain the crystal and hid it in the vault, exactly where no one would look for it. And now, the Shadowguard send their best agent to retrieve it, a powerful artifact to repel Voidborn creatures. First and foremost, Xal'atath herself. This artifact is crucial, a weapon to shield the world's soul from all unwanted forces, only to then banish Karesh into the Dark Heart without any interference. Nexus Prince Haramat sends us to stop the Shadowguard from their unholy activities. So, we're going in to stop them. The dungeon itself consists of 3 bosses, each guarding a layer of the vault's defenses. Core Warden Annuar is an elite enforcer forged by the Consortium, designed to identify and eliminate. He is the vault's threshold, ancient, tireless, and now bound by new edicts from the Shadowguard, determined to protect the vault from all intruders. The Earthshard Colossus is a massive elemental, formed from Karesh's scarred and dying terrain. Once an elemental guardian of the land, he was corrupted and driven mad by the long-term effects of the Void. We will encounter him at the 2nd level of the Broken Vault, consuming invading ethereals and pulsing with unstable Void energy. He waits for the moment when he will finally be released after this endless torment. And for the final boss we will have, the Phase Thief Azir. After successfully delivering the reforged Dark Heart, Azir was chosen for this extremely risky mission to infiltrate this deadly facility. We will meet him at the end in the Vault's treasure chamber. His fighting style is very similar to that of Nexus Princess Kai'Viza. We fight against him and his Void mirror images. But here's the twist. The figure we face isn't Azir himself. It's merely one of his echoes. The real Azir is already on his way out. As we defeat his projection, he mocks our efforts and vanishes into the veil with the crystal in his possession. The Vault of the Shifting Veil will serve as the narrative prologue to the raid, a taste of the chase, a glimpse of what's at stake, and a warning. The Shadowguard isn't just collecting power, they're making sure Xal'atath doesn't get in their way either. And they do it by any means necessary. So, these are my ideas for the new dungeon in 11.2. And now, let's talk about the 2 new delves. Strangely, the 11.2 roadmap mentions no new delves. But if you ask me, delves are great, and we should get more of them. Just not on Karesh. That world should remain broken and almost empty. There's not much left to discover. Azeroth, on the other hand, is still very much alive and full of unsolved mysteries, just waiting to be unearthed. So here's my idea. We are about to get 2 new delves placed in the old world, one in Kalimdor and one in the Eastern Kingdoms. Long-forgotten Titan ruins lie in the shadow of Darkshore. While the Horde and Alliance pay their full attention to Xal'atath and the Undermine, the Twilight Hammer clan, believed to be dead, discovers a hidden chamber in the ruins, part of an ancient Titan complex lost to time. Having pledged their allegiance to Xal'atath, they secretly seek the forbidden knowledge of the Titans, eager to gain an edge in the coming wars. Now, they're discovered by Night Elf hunters. We go after them, stop them, and learn more about the Manifold and the Worldcore. Meanwhile, in the gloomy mountains of the Twilight Highlands, the Nightfall Arathi and the Nerubians have joined forces with the Twilight Hammer clan. By order of Xal'atath, they're to regroup in this region and gather new recruits for their army. To obey her order, they sent their dark messengers in all directions. Together, they convert humans, dwarves, ogres, orcs, and trolls to their dark mistress, quietly building an army in her name. The Wildhammer dwarves have captured one of their agents and are asking for our help to put an end to the evil activities and defeat the servants of the void. The delves are designed in such a way that we can give more importance to the old world again. And, in addition to the main story about the Dark Heart and Karesh, we can also have side stories that allude to future events in Midnight and the Last Titan. And also, fill in a few lore gaps for us lore enjoyers. Since you've made it this far, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you. Every like, comment, and subscription gives the algorithm a real boost and helps the channel grow and create more videos like this one. To give you a little incentive, here's my deal. If we get 10,000 views and 1,000 likes with this video, I'll give away backstage tickets to the famous Gold's Higher Inn for 5 people, with full service and all-inclusive. So, good luck to all participants. And now, back to the madness. Deep beneath this shattered world lies something ancient and abandoned. A Titan Worldcore, once built to verify and imprison a world soul. But this one failed the tests. Deemed unworthy, the Titans locked away their test subject and moved on. The Titan-forged constructs they left behind went into hibernation when their contact with the Titans was lost, hoping to one day receive a sign of their creators again. But they too were eventually corrupted, warped by the void and reshaped by time. Some of them got the curse, or rather, the blessing of flesh. Others became dysfunctional and locked themselves away deep inside the prison complex. Now, the Shadowguard has returned with 2 mighty artifacts, ready to do what the Titans never dared. Seal Karesh's world soul inside the reforged Dark Heart and turn it into the ultimate weapon against Dimensius. Naturally, Xal'atath doesn't agree. She wants the heart back, with the power of Karesh's soul, as a bonus for her efforts, and her own twisted agenda. The raid itself will take place deep inside the hollow core of the planet. The broken Titan prison awaits us there, twisted and distorted by the void. We must fight our way through the outer ring, deactivate all security protocols, and launch our rescue mission in the inner core. While we enter, we feel the lost memories, despair, and endless pain fill the halls, all created by a soul that has been in endless pain for millennia. But we will not fight alone. Together with the sons of Lothar, the Protectorate, and the Army of Light, we will face this challenge. Now, let's talk about the general structure of the raid. To honor tradition, this raid will also have 8 bosses. The raid itself is pretty compact with only 2 levels, but it will be spacious. Very similar to the Worldcore on Azeroth. And don't worry, there will be plenty of trash mobs and rare elites for us to get some sweet BOE random loot. On the upper level, the outer ring, there will be 5 bosses. 1 for each cardinal direction, each protecting or blocking a Titan security device that we must deactivate to gain access to the inner core. The 5th boss protects the entrance to the core. Once he is defeated, we will have access to the last 3 bosses in the inner core. So much for the raid structure. Now let's move on to the bosses. Recently brought out of maintenance mode, Keeper Raken guards the entrance to the outer ring and will be our first opponent. A defective Titan construct, now executing forgotten protocols in endless loops. He doesn't see us as intruders, but rather as flawed test subjects who have apparently broken out and need to be locked up again. His battery has been severely damaged over the millennia, and he will repeatedly try to recharge himself in battle. Our goal is to prevent this, to free the trapped comrades, and to finally give him peace. The Verdict Protocol is a massive data core that has stored all test experiments on life forms and the World Soul itself. Amon Thul himself used it to execute the final judgment on Karesh's World Soul after countless failed tests. The verdict for Karesh was eternal sleep and isolation. During our battle, select players have flashbacks of the Titanic testing attempts. New enemies will be revealed to them and must be defeated quickly. After each fight inside the flashback, one of the 3 still intact Norgadis explodes. Once all are destroyed, the protocol crashes and deactivates the integrated protection mechanism, which clears the way to the next boss. Not only ancient Titan creatures inhabit this deserted place, but a few deadly, twisted predators have also taken up residence. These animal life forms were once native to Karesh, but they too were not spared by the arcane storm and its aftermath. Their unstable soul forms remained. Over millennia, they were reshaped by the void. Their souls merged into a savage collective intelligence, filled with pain and rage, known only as the Swarm of the Silent Maw. They have not hunted for eons. They simply wait for their new victims and consume. This boss has 3 phases and 3 corresponding forms. In Phase 1, he takes the form of a scorpion-like beast that deals heavy damage to tanks. Melee fighters and tanks must stand in front of him to minimize the cleave damage. It also stacks a debuff that requires a tank switch. The phase ends at 50% of the boss's HP. In Phase 2, he transforms into a beetle-like monster from which swarms of void insects emerge, dealing raid-wide damage. After the tank check from Phase 1, Phase 2 is the healer check until the boss reaches 25% HP. After the tank check from Phase 1, Phase 2 is the healer check until the boss reaches 25% HP. And as its final form in Phase 3, the swarm transforms into a slimy, purple blob with half-devoured faces screaming in despair within the mass. He continually targets new players to consume them. Any contact results in player death, so he can only be kite from here on. He also leaves behind a trail of expanding void energy that slows you down and deals damage. The phase ends after 2 minutes. Afterward, the boss explodes and wipes the raid. So save Bloodlust for Phase 3, and the loot is yours. Pandemonius was one of the commanders serving under Dimensius when Karesh was conquered by the Void. He was bound by Nexus Prince Schaffer and forced to serve him in the Mana Tomb. After defeating him in the tomb, he seeks revenge for his humiliation against the Ethereals and to prove himself worthy again to Dimensius. And now he has the golden opportunity to do so. We encounter him in a room full of destroyed Titan Guardians. The energies of the Void around him are so strong that most of our allies are rendered unconscious. Only Locust Walker, who has snuck in, and Illyria, whom are able to shield us from the maddening effects of the Void, are with us in the fight. Pandemonius has retained his bad habit of occasionally reflecting our attacks and firing volleys of shadow bolts at us. In addition, he has a legion of loyal Void Walkers under his command, whom he regularly summons from the Void, and who must be collected by the second tank and defeated as fast as possible. And last but not least, he merges with the defective guards and thereby receives new abilities and a shield. After he has been defeated, all security mechanisms are completely deactivated and we have access to the inner core. Now, Pandemonius is banished back behind the veil. We encounter a familiar couple, a cunning thief being held captive by a princess. She is determined to personally deliver the previously stolen crystal to her master in order to win his favor. And we're disrupting this little Shadowguard meeting. Therefore, Azir suggests to Kai'Viza that it would be better to fight against us together. As the saying goes, united we stand, and divided we fall. She reluctantly agrees, and the fight against both of them begins. In Phase 1, Azir and Kai'Viza periodically create mirror images of themselves. But we're not fighting alone. Turalian and Lothraxian help us in this fight. They bless some players with the clairvoyance of the Holy Light, which allows players to identify the true bosses. Furthermore, Azir temporarily takes over some players, and these must be captured using crowd control until the debuff expires. In Phase 2, both invoke the power of the Void and create a magical bond between them. Players must take turns stepping in and breaking the connection between them. In doing so, they receive a high stack debuff, and the players must take turns interrupting the beam. If they don't interrupt it, both bosses get a stacking damage buff and delete the tanks. In Phase 3, the raid is stunned for 15 seconds, and Azir sacrifices himself to allow Kai'Viza to escape. However, the crystal awakes and absorbs the released Void energy, and we're left fighting only the princess, who enrages in desperation. This is the time for all defensive and offensive cooldowns and bloodlust. After her defeat, Turalian takes possession of the crystal, and we move on deeper into the inner core. We now can enter the western and eastern wing. There, we will find the last two security mechanisms, which we must deactivate to access the soul of Karesh. Scarthul is a Skardan champion who leads a squad escorting and protecting Xal'atath. She tasks him with destroying the Naru crystal that we now hold in our hands, giving him a last dark blessing, and departs. Loyal to his mistress, he and his warband attack us. We face him and his 4 companions, which can be controlled by crowd control spells. He also shares a bond with them, and can only be defeated if they have been beaten by us first. To make it a bit more dynamic, the boss will randomly dispel the crowd control effect and make the companion immune to crowd control for 1 minute. He also destroys the tank's armor, so we regularly do a tank swap. And for the last mechanic, every companion or player killed makes Scarthul stronger. After he and his warband have fallen, we deactivate the mechanism and go back to the other wing. Reaching the final mechanism, we and our allies are irritated that the room is completely empty. Everything here screams a trap. Locust Walker is upset and says we don't have time to hesitate, even if it is a trap. He runs to the mechanism to deactivate it. An amused chuckle echoes through the room. Suddenly, Xal'atath appears behind him and fires volleys of Oid energies at him. Illyria fires at her, but Xal'atath vanishes back into the void. She runs to Locust Walker to make sure he's okay. But far from it. He's succumbed to the whispering voices in his head and is babbling incomprehensibly. He violently pushes her away, and Illyria warns us that we must not kill him. We absolutely need him in the fight against Xal'atath. In his madness, he attacks us, and the fight for him begins. This fight also goes through several phases. In Phase 1, we see void energy repeatedly erupt from him, leaving void areas that deal damage. He must therefore be pulled by the tank. He also puts mind control on several players. These must be eliminated as quickly as possible. During the fight, Locust Walker tells us about Karesh, Xal'atath, and Dimensius. We hear little lore snippets from him that he hasn't shared with anyone else. In Phase 2, Turalian retrieves the crystal and tries to activate it to stop Locust Walker, but the crystal doesn't react. During this, Void servants spawn from the void areas and want to attack and destroy the crystal. These can't be completely destroyed and must be slowed, rooted, and pulled by the second tank. In Phase 3, the crystal awakens and deletes all remaining void minions. Locust Walker must be brought near the crystal, which gives him a debuff that increases the damage he receives from us. His void bursts from Phase 1 now spawn larger void monstrosities that must be defeated quickly, as they deal significant raid-wide damage. The fight ends with the crystal absorbing Locust Walker's madness and severely weakening him. We lick our wounds, deactivate the last mechanism, and head into the depths of the core. Arriving in the inner sanctum of the facility, we witness a confrontation between Xal'atath and the mysterious master of the Shadowguard. He's surprised she eliminated his best agents and made it this far. She just scoffs that she no longer needed to do that, and that he can abandon the ridiculous charade. The Dark Heart shall return to its rightful owner, and he can go and get away with it. Interrupted by our presence, the Master attacks Xal'atath. Locust Walker coughs and tells us that we must defeat them both. Now our chance has come, and the final battle for Karesh begins. Turalian orders us to split up and attack Xal'atath and the Master simultaneously. Turalian, Illyria, Lothraxian, and Locust Walker attack Xal'atath, while Trollbane, Kurdran, and Commander Amir of the Protectorate will take the fight to the Master. The raid will be split between the two bosses, and the battle itself will take place on separate platforms. Xal'atath summons the former owners of the Blade of the Black Empire, one after another, and the Master calls his most elite Shadowguard warriors to his defense. We first fight their strike forces on the first few platforms. The longer our fight with them continues, the more unstable the platforms become. Meanwhile, Xal'atath and the Master engage in their own battle. To prevent either villain from gaining the upper hand, we must attack both of them in a coordinated manner. That means at the same time. At 50% boss HP, the Master destroys all platforms, and we float in space. Now, we dodge incoming arcane and void missiles. The crystal reacts again and attempts to neutralize the void energies and gives everybody in range a little shielding. At 25% boss HP, Xal'atath screams that she's had enough, opens a void rift, and teleports us into the void dimension. All this to trigger a void explosion that doesn't touch the Dark Heart and the World Soul. In the process, she kills the entire raid. The Master has anticipated such a move and has shielded himself from all the harm and begins the fight with Xal'atath again. Just when we think everything is over, a glowing figure emerges from the crystal. A long-lost Naru with the name of Edu. She thanks Turalian and says she still has the power for one last act of service. With her last strength, she sacrifices herself to revive everyone and opens a portal of light back to the final battle. We, now filled with the power of the light, resume the fight and defeat the two fiends. And now comes the final cinematic. Illyria shoots a powerful arrow, filled with void energy, towards Xal'atath. She dodges, and the arrow hits the Master. With her last strength, she recovers the Dark Heart. She looks back at the Master and says, "My best regards to your sire," then dissolves into the void. On the ground, the Master slowly gets to his feet, but his ethereal form fades. Lothraxion steps forward and shouts, "Brother, it's not too late to repent. Come to the light." The doomed Nathrazim looks over at us with a grin. Then a second arrow hits him in the forehead, and he dissolves, leaving only his armor behind. And with that, the raid ends, and we have saved Karesh from a fate worse than death. Locust Walker tells us that we can leave Karesh's healing to the Ethereals. We leave the battlefield knowing that we must prepare for the next battle against Xal'atath on Azeroth. And that's how the battle for Karesh ends. Oh boy, making this video really took time and effort. Almost 3 weeks to be exact. And that's why I'd like to ask you for something. Did you enjoy this kind of deep dive storytelling? Something built entirely from scratch? Should we do more of these what if patch predictions in the future? Or should I stick to theory crafting existing lore? Let me know what you prefer and on what I should focus more on. I really want to know your opinion on it. And if you've made it through both parts of this madness, respect, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.